This is Nightline.
Tonight, Chasing Evil. Famed TV psychic John Edward, known for his show Crossing Over.
So something's coming up family-wise. His mom passed?
And self-proclaimed ability to communicate with the dead.
It is a knowing, as opposed to, I wonder this. Like this I know.
Revealing his behind-the-scenes work with a career FBI agent, digging into high-profile cases, from Boston mobster Whitey Bulger to the murder of a Yale graduate student.
We're in this room, and he was insistent. She's there. The following day, I got a call from the case agent. He says, Bob, you're not going to believe this.
Why he says he welcomes skeptics.
What do you say to folks who think you're preying on emotionally vulnerable people?
Plus, Orlando Bloom, one-on-one with the star of Pirates of the Caribbean.
I make a point of avoiding familiarity with pirates.
And The Lord of the Rings.
The ring must be destroyed.
Now dropping more than 30 pounds for a brand new role.
I'm about 185, and I think I got down to about 152.
The extreme lengths he went to make it happen.
So what'd you have to do?
And the hills are alive. The spectacular milestone celebrated by the musical still captivating generations of fans. The Sound of Music.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, John Edward is one of the world's most renowned psychic mediums, beloved by millions. Retired career FBI agent Robert Hillen is completely the opposite. A self-described man of logic who went from hardcore skeptic to teaming up with Edward to help work some of the Bureau's toughest cases. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
Can psychics help solve crimes?
You see something bad?
Sounds like a Hollywood thriller, like The Gift, where Cate Blanchett plays a seer helping investigators find a missing socialite. Or Solace, where a psychic Anthony Hopkins helps the FBI stop a serial killer.
John, what are you seeing? I'm not sure.
But these two men say their story is better than a Hollywood script, a real-life, often frowned upon partnership between law enforcement and a psychic medium.
I didn't work with the FBI or for the FBI. I worked with an agent who happened to work for the FBI.
He was just that one thing sometimes that just gave me that little edge. I never tried to prove him right. I tried to solve the cases.
That edge coming from John Edward, who says he has a rare ability to see beyond what's known, even communicating with the dead.
He's seeing September as being important, so last month seems to be significant.
That's when he passed away 3 years ago.
Edward is a psychic millions came to know from his early 2000s TV show, Crossing Over, which showcased his self-proclaimed psychic ability.
Shows me like quartz crystals, and I'm seeing like, she's like showing me like amethysts.
The TV psychic joining with Robert Hillen, a 6'8", no-nonsense FBI investigator who says he turned to Edward for help with some of his toughest cases. The pair now going public for the first time about their decades-long collaboration, from the infamous Boston crime boss Whitey Bulger to eventually nabbing convicted wife killer John Smith.
When I look back on our almost 30 years together over those many experiences, it feels like it wasn't by accident. It happened for a reason.
When Hillen was assigned the heartbreaking case of Noah Thomas, a 5-year-old boy who disappeared, he called his friend, Edward.
What was he telling you?
He said you walked right over him, and it almost felt like the kids' game. You're getting warmer, you're getting colder.
How are you doing this?
This case was different. This case, I think, struck the dad chord for me. And I think if we had to look for a theme within my working with Bob, it would be the dad chord. I felt like, what if this was my child?
Now, Hillen and Edward's unlikely partnership fully revealed in a new book, Chasing Evil.
Why did you keep it from as many of your colleagues as you could?
If any of my colleagues came to me and said, hey, Bob, I'm working a case, I'm talking to a psychic, I would have said, get out of here. I think I wanted to preserve my reputation in the FBI, my own credibility. But I could not deny throughout the years the information he provided had value.
Their work together, Hillard says, included a headline-making case in 2009.
We're just hoping she's found safe.
Yale University graduate student Annie Lay disappeared after entering a campus lab just days before her wedding.
I feel lost. Don't know what happened to my niece.
We haven't heard anything really, and I just want her to be okay.
We were working on the premise that the killer had either taken her body out somehow or she was still on the scene there. I was in the presence of my colleagues, and I get this call from John Edward.
Edward, who was in Ireland about to take the stage for a performance, says he got a strong feeling from what he calls his guides that he knew where Annie was.
It would be like seeing the laboratory, seeing like there's swipe cards to get in and out. There's half glass in one of the doors. Go that direction.
But you were saying to him, she's right there. What did that come through as?
It is a knowing, as opposed to, I wonder this. Like this I know.
Hilland writes about directing the search for Annie based on what Edward told him.
Oh, I'm like leading all these people. We're in this room, which had pipes in it, and he's like, she's in the pipes. And he was insistent, she's there. She wasn't. So despite all of our efforts, I'm sorry, John, she wasn't there. The following day, I get a call from the case agent. He says, Bob, you're not going to believe this. Remember where we were? She was in the wall between those two rooms in the pipes.
Joy jail.
Annie had been murdered by another lab worker who later confessed to killing her. Raymond Clark is serving 44 years in prison.
What made the case resonate so deeply with you, and what were you feeling?
I think because she worked in a lab, and my background comes out of healthcare, and I fixated on the laboratory part of it, and that gave me like my entrance in.
Born and raised in Queens, New York, Edward, the son of a police officer, was planning a career in the sciences. But he realized he had a talent for reading people, something he'd been doing since he was 15, eventually honing his skills.
So a psychic is the person who has the ability to connect with energy and talk about what's happening now in your life. But a medium specifically helps to connect with people who have crossed over.
I think skeptics would say, well, if you're clairvoyant and know everything, why can't you solve every crime?
When I first started doing this, I think that there's an expectation that people have that if you're psychic, you should know the lottery numbers. If you're psychic, you should do this. And I just toss it back and say, well, you know, my mom had a pretty good oncologist and he didn't cure her cancer, right? So not every field is 100%.
Edward's mother died of lung cancer, or as he calls it, crossed over, when she was only 48.
Her passing was the catalyst for shifting my entire life, because then I was the client. I needed to know, all right, where is she? Is she ever gonna, will I see her again? Like, if I have kids, will she see them? Like, my need kind of gave birth to my work.
And they're telling me to talk about going on the boat, going on the cruise, going on the whatever. So something's coming up family-wise. Has Mom passed?
Edward soon began reading people full-time, traveling around the world. Today, private readings with John go for $850 and more.
And it's okay to get the dog? I don't know if that means anything to you. It's okay to get the dog?
With live shows costing about $200 a ticket.
She came through with you, and I was, yeah. And I've been back to see you so many times.
His work bringing out fervent believers, and also plenty of skeptics. South Park once skewering him for an entire episode.
Does the name Mike mean anything to anybody?
That singular episode has brought so many people to understand me, the subject matter, and actually help them when they were dealing with the loss of either a sibling, a parent, a grandchild, because they didn't know who I was.
What do you say to folks who think you're preying on emotionally vulnerable people?
Well, I only have two options. Either one, I am that person, or two, I'm delusional because I think I can do this. So I guess I'm delusional because I can do this.
Let's, hold the skepticism aside for a second. Does what you do sort of normalize or legitimize perhaps others who are out to con people?
And there's a difference between skepticism and cynicism. Skepticism says, I'm not sure, show me. And if there's validation, then that validation helps to support the claim. And cynicism means no matter what it is that you are provided with, you've already made up your mind that nothing's possible.
Among the skeptics was Bob Hilland himself, who first heard Edward giving readings to listeners on morning radio in New York.
Cases are made on evidence. We're the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the Federal Bureau of Psychics. So when I heard him on the radio, I thought he was ridiculous.
Desperate to solve a frustrating cold case, Hilland met with Edward, expecting him to be a fraud. Instead, he says their meeting stunned him.
How could he have known these things? Is there anything I could have done inadvertently to tip him off to these things? And the answer every time was no. There was nothing.
27 years later, the pair say they aim to help people, whether they believe or not.
I would submit to any of them who think this is all nonsense. If somebody that they loved and cared for, God forbid, disappeared one day, but I had this friend here who maybe could at least point me in a direction, would you not want me to go talk to him? if I could find your loved one.
Our thanks to Juju. Up next, one-on-one with actor Orlando Bloom. His extreme weight drop for his new role. The 2 foods he says he survived on for weeks. Welcome back. Orlando Bloom has had a storied career playing pirates, princes, and elves, among many others. His new movie, The Cut, demanded an extreme physical transformation. He says he welcomed the challenge. He sat down with ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
We want to welcome Orlando Bloom to Nightline. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's
So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about some of your earlier roles. I remember the first time I saw you in Lord of the Rings.
Have you heard nothing Lord Elrond has said? The ring must be destroyed.
Millions of fans worldwide, Pirates of the Caribbean as well.
I make a point of avoiding familiarity with pirates.
When you see your younger self in these roles, is there anything you would say to a young Orlando?
Enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. I think when you're so young and you're living your life in the public eye in such a dramatic way, and it feels like it's all so important, it's really not. It's really a gift.
How did those roles help get you, prepare you for where you are now?
I mean, it was definitely felt like a baptism of fire in some ways, because I was sort of learning my craft in such a public space, in giant movies.
What do you think back and see in that young man?
Somebody who was really kind of out of his depth, but loving life and throwing himself in wholeheartedly to all of it. I kind of got through the sausage machine and I'm still standing. I'm still in one piece, I feel like the wheels didn't fall off quite, which is why I'm so proud that, actually that I get to make a movie like The Cut.
Paolo, he's crashing. Manny, okay? Will you help us get him up?
Hey.
Hold on, just
Come back to me.
give it a minute.
Come back to me.
Listen to me, all right? You hear me?
And I was like, I love that idea. I love the boxing genre, first of all. I think, Raging Bull, one of my favorite movies. The Fighter, there were so many great movies in that genre.
Come on, move. Why we go out the way?
But how do you do that differently? How do you have a fresh take on that? And this idea was sort of like, the focus of the fight was really what's going on in the character's mind. So it's like an inner battle. And the physical transformation, because fighters cut weight. It's called cutting in order to get to the right weight to have a shot.
You're carrying what?
175.
Don't this.
180.
I said don't.
180 straight. 7 days.
6, including travel. That's 26 pounds in 6 days.
Okay, that is insane. 26 pounds in 6 days. It's an incredible transformation. You look completely different in this movie. Tell us what you actually lost to prepare for this.
I sort of dropped from I'm about 185, and I think I got down to about 152. So
and what'd you have to do?
I basically tiered my meals down. I worked with this fantastic nutritionist who just was observing everything. He was really in very close communication with production because it was really essential that we tiered it down at the right points, because what we actually did was we started the movie at my lightest weight. So I came into the movie at my lightest weight and we shot in reverse chronological order in order that I would gain the weight because I had no brain function. I was literally lying on the set between takes because I couldn't, in the last 2 days, I was hardly drinking water because I just wanted that very dry look.
One of the wildest things I think I read was that you pretty much survived on tuna and cucumbers.
That's right,
for
for
months and months.
It was crazy, at least
How
4
did you
weeks.
do that? What were you craving?
I mean,
feeling?
honestly, part of the intrusive thoughts was, what am I going to eat? And as my body was adjusting, I was like, what I wouldn't do for a burger and fries or some ice cream.
What were you going through?
I think a lot of what Boxer was experiencing, the paranoia.
Was some of that real?
I was definitely hangry. I was definitely irritable but grateful all the time for the opportunity to do something that I felt like I'd never been asked to do. And then John Turturro, of course, comes in and he just gave this remarkable performance.
You can't move ahead dragging your past along for the ride. That's extra weight, extra fuel to burn. That comes at a cost. You want to be another statistic, a has-been on repeat?
He's in Severance right now, which is a totally different,
correct,
you would never guess that's the same person.
I'm Irving, macro data refinement.
You really transformed for this film.
Yeah,
Watching it, I did not feel like I was watching Orlando Bloom.
Oh, thanks.
Which
That's
I think is the point, right?
Yeah, that was the point. And we had some sort of like broken teeth a little bit, which worked.
You didn't break your teeth for the role.
We considered breaking my nose, actually. It was a conversation. I was like, well, I've broken my nose before. I guess we could break it back. You know, it might be.
What's next for you? Nice big long vacation?
Yeah,
go
trust
eat
me. A lot
whatever
of
you
eating,
want?
a lot of enjoying my food. I'm letting a little bit of time breathe. I want this to land and to take stock and, like, you know, see which path I want to take from there.
Thank you so much for being here. You can see Orlando Bloom's latest film, The Cut, in theaters now.
Our thanks to Rhiannon. When we come back, the big anniversary of The Sound of Music, the iconic scene we've recreated. And finally tonight, The Sound of Music turns 60. ABC's Maggie Ruley is in Austria.
Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes.
It was an instant hit when it premiered in 1965. The Sound of Music.
These are a few of my favorite things.
Winning 5 Oscars, including Best Picture.
A drop of golden sun.
A young Julie Andrews charming the world for decades as Maria, the nanny whose spirit and love stole the hearts of the Von Trapp children. And their father, the captain, played by Christopher Plummer. 60 years later, generations of fans are still captivated, making the pilgrimage to Salzburg, and we're right there with them.
A drop of golden sun.
Singing along with a busload of Americans on the original Sound of Music bus tour. Visiting all of the movie's iconic spots. You've got to remember that famous scene where Maria and the 7 kids are out on the boat, they splash, they fall into the lake. That all happened right there. The Do Re Mi fountain is where we meet Mike and Barb, traveling for their 47th wedding anniversary.
So he said, this is all for you today.
It's just a timeless classic. You can't put a date on it. It just resonates with everybody.
But of course, there's still one more moment that we had to recreate for ourselves.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more.
Our thanks to Maggie. That's Nightline for this evening. Watch all of our full episodes on Disney Plus and Hulu. We'll see you right back here Monday. Thanks for the company, America. Have a good and safe weekend.